Hello and welcome to the Switchrpg podcast. I am one of your hosts, Gio, and I'm joined by Just Johnny. Johnny, what's going on?
Everything's going on.
Everything is going on. It has been a while since I've been on the show. I've been just terribly busy with work and dealing with other stuff. Again, you guys don't need to know, but I'm so glad to be back. Thank you for having me back, Johnny. Yeah.
It's great to have you back.
Oh, thank you. If this is your first time listening, this is the show from Switchrpg.com, where we bring you the latest and the greatest in the world of RPGs on the Nintendo Switch. This week, we are going to be talking a little bit about E3, as well as some latest news and rumors as well. But first, Johnny, what have you been playing?
Not a whole lot regarding diversity. It's pretty much just been Monster Hunter Rise, even though I beat that game. Just playing lots of Monster Hunter Rise. They released the 2.0
Yeah, yep.
or 2.0, whatever, content.
Yep.
So that is greatness right there. It kind of, the content diversity ends at HR 40. And then after that, you're just min-maxing your builds and whatnot,
right.
and kind of waiting for the next big content release, which will be at the end of this month.
Are you already there, waiting?
I haven't hit HR 40 yet. I'm very close. I'm like a couple of hunts away from hitting HR 40, getting that last urgent quest. And which one is it? Oh, it's the Teostra. So I haven't hunted Teostra yet. So that's the last one I'm waiting to hunt.
Okay. Yeah, I've not fallen out of love. I did love the game, did like the game. I played it a little bit with you and, just on my own as well. There's just so many other games that I want to be playing right now. I just haven't had time to dedicate, and I already feel like I'm behind the 8 ball. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's already way too much content, more than initially was there. So, man, it's already kind of overwhelming. You know what I mean?
I can see that. Yeah, but it's you can always pick it back up. I mean, the only time where you kind of feel like where you're out of progress is if you're trying to catch up to other friends, right? When they sort of outgeared you. But did you end up rolling the credits on that game?
No.
Because the first credit roll is pretty easy to come by. It happens in the first 20 hours of the game, or
Yeah, I don't even have 20.
40.
I don't have 20 hours into the game.
Yeah. All right. Well, you're. I mean, from when you and I played, I mean, you're not that far away from rolling that credits.
Yeah.
I think it's the 5-star village quests, and
Yeah.
once you do that, you'll get the first credit roll.
Yeah, then I am pretty close.
Yeah.
I just got to get there. Just got to get there.
You should do it. You should do it. It'll give you the satisfaction knowing that you beat the game. You rolled the you beat the game, and you rolled the credits. And then at that point, you don't even have to come up with excuses. You could just say, "Yep, I beat it. Done."
No, I know it's a farce because I know there's just like 100 more hours left to play in that game, and it's just I'm just, like I said, I'm already overwhelmed. But
yeah, I have I think I'm right around 150 hours.
Yeah, it makes me.
And I'm trying not to go too crazy on it. Definitely got a good fill. That game is absolutely great, and if it doesn't, even if there wasn't a major update coming out later on this month, I would probably say it's a surefire for RPG of the year. And that's without the extra content. So it's a fantastic iteration of the franchise.
Yeah, RPGs this year has been very, especially for the Switch. I'd have to look and see what has come out for other consoles, but I have a feeling it's been pretty light so far. So there's not much of a contest there. And for someone says who, you said you didn't want to, you didn't go ham on it, or you did, or something to that effect. You have 150 hours. That's pretty substantial.
Yeah, well, I'm not trying to min max and farm all the talismans, the ideal talisman and stuff like that. I mean, I do have pretty much the best armor set for because I use the gun lance and I
Hmm.
have uh what I think is an ideal build for my play style. So that's why I haven't really been too motivated to go any further. I still have that last monster to hunt, and I'm gonna do it. And I know that the content between what dropped at the end of April, and at what's coming up, I know that I need it to sort of last. So I'm stretching. I'm like purposely stretching it.
Gotcha.
And then when that major content comes out at the end of this month, then I'll
You're
definitely go through that. And I'm expecting if there is no other content to be released from Monster Hunter, I'll be very happy and content. But if there is a possibility of them releasing like a 4.0, they'll probably announce it during E3, the upcoming
Yeah,
E3.
yeah, that certainly makes sense. I think Capcom would announce that and not Nintendo, but I mean, I'm not sure. What are you doing? You no, oh, I guess Bowser has to be in the shot there. Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, so it's been strictly Monster Hunter for you. Nothing else. No, nothing on PC. Generally, you're playing some PC games. You got nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I've been playing my board game, but
Uh,
other than that, it really hasn't been much else.
yeah,
I guess there just hasn't been anything that's been motivating me to really play it. What about
yeah.
you?
I've been playing Kingdoms of Amalur. I've been playing that pretty hardcore, and I've been playing it hardcore, but I've only been doing side quests. Not just side quests, more faction quests. If you follow the YouTube channel at all, I've been following. I think it's shoot, I don't remember. It's more like the rogue assassin faction. I've been doing that right along. I probably in terms of main story, I probably have 3 hours into the game, but I am at easily 30 to 40 hours into the game total. Again, just on faction quests. So I've been putting a decent amount of time into that. I love the gameplay. It is a little dated. You can tell it's dated, which is fine. But the gameplay is pretty fun. It keeps you in there, along with the narrative. In terms of what they have set aside for the faction quest. So it's got me pretty entertained. Um, so yeah, Kingdoms of Amalur. I think though for a reworking of that game, they are missing some things like locking on enemies. I think is probably a big deal and probably could have been a great quality of life thing to add. But there's like that just the camera controls are kind of messy as well. So anyway, I've been playing Kingdoms of Amalur. Definitely recommend getting it, even though it's got some minor issues. There were some, crashes in certain quests where it would continue to crash in the same spot in the same quest. But that's been, for the most part, it's been resolved. They've been pretty good about patching that up. And I've been playing a new game called Rise Eterna. It's actually coming out on the 13th, and there's no embargo on it, so I've been showing it on YouTube as well as talking about it. It's a very it's a Fire Emblem light game. The narrative is really interesting. It's not involved in terms of skills, and maybe even combat per se. It's very basic in that sense. And when I say combat, like I think I've been have it 5 to 10 hours or so, and it's just been basic attacks. Like there's no real like special abilities or skills. It's just been attack, and that's pretty much it. But it's a good tactical RPG. You don't have control over units. It's just individuals. But it's got decent pixel art. It's voiced by me, so that's probably the best part.
It's
I
when it's voiced by you.
I do my own voiceover. That's
Oh,
all.
okay.
um, but yeah, it's a pretty good. I don't know what it's going to cost. I wish I could. I can't tell in the eShop. Maybe if I go to dekudeals.com, I could see how much it's going to cost, and I could tell you if it's worth it. But it's published by Forever Entertainment. What are you costing people? I don't have it here. I can't see.
Uh,
It says
oh my god.
unavailable.
What?
So I can't tell you how much it's going to cost.
On the eShop, what's it listed on the eShop for? $20.
Okay. Yeah, maybe. I would say 15 bucks, 20 bucks is probably a decent price for that game.
Yeah,
Um,
I was watching you play it, and it looks like it's right up my alley.
yeah.
I didn't see that sort of added layer of depth to it, so
It
I was
doesn't
interested.
have that. It doesn't if you're wanting that, like I said, I'm about 5, 7 hours, maybe 10. It does not have that layer of complexity. But anyway. So yeah, that is what I've been playing. So let's get on with the new game announcements. Image and Form has announced that new SteamWorld games are in the works. They're also doing some sort of weird like rebranding thing. I'm not quite sure how it works. I think they're going to be called Thunderful Publishing or something to that. Thunderful Games. I don't know. It's really kind of weird, but they put out this kind of cryptic tweet, not a cryptic tweet. But with this in mind, we'll dedicate this space to SteamWorld games, old and new. Image and Form, which is the developer, is Thunderful Games nowadays. Same folks, new names. Follow us there on the gunk and more games. There was actually another tweet. It doesn't look like it's in this article for My Nintendo, where they basically said that they have new games in the works, and I really hope it's more on the SteamWorld Heist side of things. I really hope they explore that venture of game mechanics because it was more RPG in terms of what they typically do, and it was
Well, Hand of Gilgamesh was also pretty RPG.
oh that yeah definitely I totally forgot about that game, and
Yeah.
I obviously I played it, but I really hope they venture into their RPG side of things.
Well, no matter what it's gonna be in the Steam World esque franchise. So there will be bots, there will be Steam.
Yeah. And they're building their own world, which is really really cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, game builder garage. What are we doing here? So my
Came
Nintendo
out of
news
nowhere. This is a
game.
brand new game announcement.
Yeah, Game Builder Garage is set to be digital only. The upcoming creative title from Nintendo, Game Builder Garage, is set to be digital only release in Europe via the eShop. North American Switch owners will be able to purchase the game either physically and digitally on the platform. And basically, this is kind of like a if you're familiar, if you have any kids in school, younger kids, if you're familiar with code.org, basically it feels and looks similar to what that is. And basically you're building your own game. Now, I don't know how complex it gets. Maybe you have an idea as to how complex it could be.
They did show in the trailer a couple of different sort of types of games that you could build. So they definitely showed space shooter stuff, puzzle stuff,
Mhm.
platforming. So it looks like it's pretty diverse. The interface is pretty much going to be the most important part. Is how intuitive that interface is going to be to set up all of the sort of events and triggers and control mechanisms for getting to set up a game.
Mhm.
Uh, it does look like it's aimed towards a an everyone type of crowd,
Yep.
which is good. And the possibilities of it are pretty exciting. It does have actually some embedded tools too. They didn't really show all of them, but they did show that it had a relatively comprehensive pixel editor in there, or comprehensive enough. And I believe it's going to support USB mouse, kind of like Mario Paint.
Yep.
So So there is potential here to do something relatively big, and it's coming from Nintendo
Right.
unexpectedly out of nowhere. So this is just weird in general, but also very exciting. Um, the possibilities, though, is it's interesting
Yeah.
because it has that Nintendo backing, and usually with these types of games, for example, what was it, like Little Big Planet? There was that other game that just came out on PlayStation. Not just came out, but came out like 2 years ago. Dreams, or maybe it was last year.
Not familiar, but yeah.
Dreams. It's another game where you can make. It's a game about making games, and it does have its own comprehensive tool set and allows you to make a lot of different diverse games. I think this one is going to focus. I don't remember in the trailer. I could be wrong, but I don't remember seeing any 3D elements, which is very good because that simplifies what the interface needs to sort of
Mhm.
what the user can tell the engine what it can and can't do. It once you start getting into 3D space, the the complexity really ramps up dramatically.
Yeah.
So so if I had to guess, if this gets the popularity gets to the popularity of for example Mario Maker 2. And I'm also guessing that the complexity of what you can do is gonna be far greater than Mario Maker 2. It
What
may
what
not be as capable as making a platformer like Mario Maker 2 makes,
right.
but I'm guessing the suit and complexity of interactions that you can set up is gonna be way more, substantial than what
Right.
Mario Maker 2 has to offer.
Yeah, I mean, with Mario Maker 2, you have access to a lot of different assets, and that speeds things up as well. I don't know what you'll have in terms of assets for this title, but I mean, you can make your own, so it's pretty good.
Yeah. A big thing for this, what things like this need is an online sharing, like a community sharing of graphical and animation assets.
Mhm.
That's that's generally what it's going to have, but knowing Nintendo, it's probably not going to have that, and it will probably have a whole bunch of like really good art built in that players and people can utilize.
Mhm.
So at some point, we're probably gonna get to, like, a whole lot of, similarity graphical wise,
Right.
but the differences on gameplay will be pretty diverse.
Right. Cool. Yeah, I think we'll be hearing more about this soon, because I think they have a release date, or do they have a release date or potential release window? June
Yeah,
11th. June
yeah,
11th.
that's 1 month.
Yeah.
So,
And it says
that's coming up real
up to 8 players. Interesting.
that is interesting.
But
I guess they leave the door open for the types of games that you can make, and 8 is the limit for the
yep,
Switch, so
yep. All right, cool. Next we have Made in Abyss. This one is kind of interesting as well. Made in Abyss, binary star falling into darkness, coming to the Switch in 2022. So we have a ways to go with this. Spike Chunsoft has confirmed that they have been working hard on Made in Abyss, Binary Star Falling into Darkness. The game is in development for the Nintendo Switch and is set to be released sometime in the next year. Developers describe the game as a 3D action RPG, and they did release some screenshots of this, and it looks kind of interesting. I know very little about this in terms of its lore, because I know it's either like a an anime or some sort of web based something. So there is some history behind this. Are you familiar with
yeah.
it?
Yeah, I believe it's an anime franchise or manga franchise,
Hmm.
and they're taking that franchise and making a game out of it.
Yeah. It certainly reminds me of, like Nino Kuni, but in a 3D world. It looks like you're playing an anime, which is really really cool, really really cool. So this one's definitely interesting me, that's for certain.
Yeah, yeah. It's got some promise.
Cool. Next we have, um what is the complete name of it? Wonder Boy, Asha, and Monster World. So, in-end games have revealed today Wonder Boy, Asha, and the Monster World will be heading to the Nintendo Switch later this month. So, coming up real quick. Wonder Boy, Asha, and the Monster World, which is a remake of Monster World 4, is due to be released on the 28th of May. Sadly, there is no trailer to accompany the news. I believe actually that may have changed. I don't know how old this article
Yeah,
is.
there is a trailer.
Yeah, there definitely is a trailer. But this also kind of surprised some people, and I know some people at Switchrpg staff that are kind of excited about this. I've never really gotten into the Wonder Boy games. I like the aesthetic of them. I'm just not sure why I just can't get into it. I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
But
I
there's
like the graphical style of the game.
yeah.
I think it's kind of pretty, and the gameplay from what they're showing is interesting.
Mhm.
It looks like it's got heavy Metroidvania elements, pretty much just like the other Monster World, Monster Boy,
Right.
Wonder Boy games, and it's got the action sequences, and it seems like the world that you're in. And I haven't played any of these games, but I believe the world that you're in, just like Metroidvanias, it's one big giant world that you're exploring through.
Mhm.
And one of the elements that they got in here is that you can go in and out of the sort of level. There's layers of depth into the level. So it's 2D, it's a side scroller, but you can go into the background or into the foreground on these levels. They're showing it off. One level in the video is sort of like this weird aqueduct sewer like system, and you can go through pipes that are either into the foreground or into the background, and that sort of makes the walls disappear or appear. And as you're navigating through this sort of multi-layered two-dimensional environment, and
Mhm.
that's cool. I like exploration games that are of this type and of this
Right.
nature. So
Yeah, it definitely looks pretty. I like I said, I love the look on it. Maybe this will be the one that I jump into. I don't know. We'll see. There's just so much coming out right now. I think we're heading into a very busy time. There's kind of a mad dash before E3 where all the kind of the indie games or the games that don't want to get shadowed by E3, they're all announcing their games like coming out this month or next week. Like they're coming out quick. So yeah, actually, another game I wanted to highlight here is called Aluna Sentinel of the Shards. This is actually also coming out on the 26th. Are they both coming out on the 26th? I missed that. Hang on. I got to get this right.
26 for
All
this one.
right. Yeah, so Monster Boy Asha is coming out the 28th. Aluna Sentinel of the Shards is coming out on the 26th. And this is kind of a top-down isometric, kind of your Diablo-esque action RPG, based again on a comic book. And this one also, I'm really kind of interested in this one. It really reminds me of the kind of the old school, kind of your top-down Diablo esque game. So this is definitely one that I'm looking forward to. Granted, it's not as polished as you would think a new game would be, but I think it still looks kind of cool to me. So
Yeah,
it reminds
yeah,
me kind of almost PS2, PS3 era. That sort of maybe that sort of line there. Kind
a
of your
little bit
old
better, but yeah.
yeah, yeah. So or maybe even like a older PC Diablo or something to that effect. Anyway, um, keep an eye on that one. I am not going to talk about that there. So yeah, Minecraft Dungeons gets a new update, Hidden Depths, again on the 26th of May. So what's going on with this? Let's just see. My son, I showed him this, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, that looks so cool." So I think he and I are going to get back into Minecraft Dungeons here with this new Hidden Depths DLC. So Mojang and Microsoft have announced a fresh new update, Minecraft Dungeons, on the Nintendo Switch, along with new DLC, which is titled Hidden Depths. You'll be able to venture on the new Minecraft Dungeons adventure on the 26th of May. The team also mentioned that they are adding a new feature slash enemy type called Raid Captains, which are described as super challenging enemies, which will mix up the adventure for you. And they have all new details on their website. So they continue to support the game. Don't forget, it is cross play. Um, so yeah, he was playing on an Xbox. Although he has it for his Switch, he just got an Xbox One, so he's really excited about it. He was playing on the Xbox One. I was playing on the Switch. It was fun old time. Okay. Sega says it wants to globally expand Atlas titles, meaning more multi-platform and worldwide releases. Do you want to take over this one?
Oh,
No? Okay.
the chief strategy officer
Yes. Okay.
and the GM of Asia Japan Studios at Sega has told the Japanese gaming magazine Famitsu that they are looking to globally expand future Atlas video games. Mr. Yutsumi says that they are planning to do this by releasing, okay, not re-releasing, but releasing future Atlas games simultaneously worldwide instead of doing the usual staggered releases between Japan and the West. He also mentioned that they are considering bringing Atlas games to more platforms, which would be great news for the Switch and Xbox owners. Probably not the Switch. Xbox.
Yeah,
But who
I don't
knows?
know that they really are supporters of Xbox, but anyway, yeah, that is great news for the Switch, considering we are still waiting for Persona 5.
And many other titles. And Atlas is they are a really good RPG factory.
Yeah.
They make some fantastic games. One thing I'm hoping on is that they also dig into their backlog and do some remakes and or remasters of things. But yeah, they have some great games that they should bring to other platforms and stop making silly exclusivity deals with Sony.
Yeah. Forget about Sony. We're here. We exist. Well, they got SMT 3 coming out really soon,
Yep.
and SMT 5 maybe we'll see that at E3, but they also I don't know that that is exclusive. So, I mean, they are supporting their games or supporting the Switch with their most recent games. Now, can they jump into their back catalog, maybe Persona 4 Golden, or, if you go back, I don't know how well received Dragon's Crown was, but, going back to that time, I don't know. I don't know how far back are we going here.
Far back as necessary. I mean, they've done they've published some of the Ogre series games
Ah,
to
yes.
to say the least. So they got some great games in their catalog and their repertoire. So
Yeah, you just want Ogre Battle back. Anyway, Sakuna of Rice and Ruin shipments and digital sales are now over 950,000. And I actually think it's higher than that now. It might even be
yeah,
over a million,
it's certainly gonna be yeah,
which
I'm with you.
is absolutely insane if you think about it. This game, it did not get a lot of publicity in my opinion.
No, and it's the first of its franchise too. So this is a huge success.
Yeah, huge success for a for Marvelous. Now I'm trying to see.
So it
What?
says that it's a combination of the shipments and digital sales have now
Yeah,
exceeded 950,000. But by this point in time, they probably breached the 1 million marker. Even so, they're that's pretty much a million right there. Uh, if I had to guess, they probably timed the release really well, given the unfortunate circumstance of because this released what in November, right, of
yeah,
last year.
yeah. It was just after, because I remember I played this at E3. It was kind of not finished,
Yep.
so it did take a while. So November sounds right.
Yeah, and it released right around the same time as Zelda, the Hyrule Warriors,
Hmm.
and I would say, there wasn't really much else available around that time, especially on Switch, because
Right.
what else was there other than Hyrule Warriors
I mean,
for the
people will
holiday release?
still playing Animal Crossing. People going nuts for that game.
Yeah, but Animal Crossing is over half a year old at that point.
Right, right, right,
So it's, this kind of helped pick up. My guess is this got a boost because there wasn't too much in the way of competition,
right. Now
which is good for them.
I'm trying to see if this differentiates between um Switch sales or like other consoles, and I'm not seeing it on here. I don't know if was it yeah, it was on PlayStation and PC
Yep.
as well. And it doesn't differentiate between that.
If I had to guess, the majority of sales or the biggest slice of the pie was probably on the Switch.
Yeah. I would have to guess that as well. And I was just trying to see if they showed what their second in their list was after Sakuna Rice and Ruin. It's probably some, Rune Factory game or something to that effect. But they're just their numbers aren't making sense to me, and they're mostly in Japanese, so it's kind of hard to read some of it. Anyway, yeah, really cool for kind of a an off the beaten path kind of game from a studio that really isn't known for putting up these sort of numbers. So at least putting up these numbers with a newest, the first of its IP, which is cool. All right, Pokemon Sword and Shield players have now an updated version 1.3.2. Believe it or not, Pokemon Sword and Shield hasn't been updated in months. In fact, the last time that Pokemon Sword and Shield had been updated was December of 2020, a couple months after the Crown Tundra DLC had released. Well, 5 months later, the update drought has ended. The brand new update Pokemon Sword and Shield released earlier tonight, bringing the pair of games to version 1.3.2. As the official patch notes, they only list a couple of things. They said that they fixed the issue where some Pokemon icons were not properly displaying during online or local wireless battles, and that several issues have been fixed to improve gameplay experience. So, stability.
Yeah, stability and bug fixes. The icon thing could definitely that definitely gets in the way of gameplay. So
Sure does. Sure does. All right, next we have Story of Seasons developers talks about remakes. Japanese video game publication Dengeki Online has had the chance to chat with Story of Seasons pioneers of Olive Town director Hikari Nakano and producer Dai Takamura. The site asked them about the possibility of more remakes of older titles heading to the Nintendo Switch. Mr. Takamura said that they are focused on making new games. However, when asked if they would like to remake any games with the current console technology, Mr. Nakano said that the older titles such as Harvest Moon 64, Harvest Moon A Wonderful Life, and Harvest Moon DS would be the ones that he would personally choose. I'm gonna say this right now. I'm tired of ports. There are just way too many. I feel like they're just let games be like games that have been played. Let them go. Let it
oh
go.
well,
I'm so
I'm
tired of.
okay. I'm okay with ports and remakes and remasters, but for this series in particular, no, just don't do it because each iteration that they make for this series in
They,
particular.
right, they better themselves.
Yeah, it's really just an iteration on what they do before, and sometimes it's a step backwards because they included some new gameplay mechanic that where they had to sacrifice some of the extra complexity on prior titles in order to accommodate. For example, Harvest Moon 64 was a step backwards in sort of nuance than what the prior Harvest Moon game was. Regarding the variety of things that you could do.
Hmm.
So it did offer some new things in Harvest Moon 64, but it didn't come up to snuff with what it did prior. So you know, I'm with you for this franchise. Let these games, the earlier games, don't remake, don't remaster, don't port. Just make something new
Yeah.
and make it better. Just continue to iterate on what they've what they continue to do and make it better.
Yeah, I think what's the gentleman's name? Um, let's see here. Takamura said they are focused on making new games. I think that is probably the more important thing, is making new games, improvements, things of that nature. When you go back, I mean, and mostly everything else is just nostalgia. And I don't know, I guess nostalgia does sell games, but I'm just getting tired of it, to be honest with you. Anyway, moving on, another actually, speaking of nostalgia, Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance available today. Oh wait, no, no, it's not.
Kinda not. Yeah.
It was available. Interplay and Wizards of the Coast have recently announced that the classic PlayStation 2 and Xbox era RPG Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance is available today. It wasn't on the Nintendo Switch. The re-release of Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance is available for $29.99. Again, the same is a re-release, but it does. Oh, I'm sorry. Again, the game is a re-release, but it does include two-player co-op. Check out the freshly released trailer below. So again, yep, check out the trailer. I do recommend it. It pretty much looks the same as you remember. I think the PlayStation and Xboxes are getting 4K. Um,
Yep.
but something happened and the Nintendo version ain't coming out yet. I think last I saw, they did email press release that they're still undergoing some certification through Nintendo. So it may be another week or maybe a little bit longer. But it is coming at some point. Because we did get this whole
Well,
release. I'm sorry, go ahead.
yeah, they do have a statement, and the statement that they have is, "Hey all, due to unforeseen issue on the Nintendo Switch store, we're going to have to delay the launch for a few days to fix it. We're incredibly sorry about this, and we're working hard to remedy this as quickly as possible. Thanks
Yeah.
for your patience."
Yeah, they've already if you follow their account, Black Isle Studios, if you follow their account, they already have a patch incoming for the other version, so the Nintendo Switch will also be getting that update, which is good. Thank you, Xbox and PlayStation owners, for beta testing the game for us Switch owners. Really appreciated. But was weird about this game is that I had gotten the email. It was under embargo. Gave us all the trailer information. Gave us all the information as to when it was coming out. I was like, oh my god, this is like coming out in like 2 days. This is crazy. And then all of a sudden, a day before, was it? Yeah, a day before the embargo, IGN kind of got the scoop on it, and I guess they got the publishing rights to attach their trailer to it, so it got announced before anyone could even really say anything. So anyway, um it's kind of cool game. I do remember playing this on GameCube. Was it game no was it on GameCube as well, or just the PlayStation 2? I'm getting confused now.
I don't know. It might have been on GameCube though.
Mm. Anyway, I do recall playing this. That whole era really kind of confuses me for whatever reason. But I do recall playing this. I don't know if I completed it. I don't remember. Again, obviously, I don't really remember much all. But
Yeah, it seems like another Diablo-esque hack and
yeah,
slash RPG experience,
yeah,
action RPG with that top-down view of the camera, but set in the Dungeons and Dragons world with Dungeons and Dragons enemies and characters.
yeah. So I think that's definitely one that I'll be playing. Now, this is not the new one that's coming out in June. That one's totally different and not coming out on the Switch. All right, cool. IGN, another exclusive here. 13 minutes of Baldo gameplay. If you're familiar with Ni no Kuni or what is the anime? Jeez, I can't remember.
Oh, we could also say Wind Waker, right?
Yeah, but it's not so much Wind Waker than it is Ni no Kuni or what. I can't remember the company that does all the anime here.
Oh, Ghibli?
Yeah, Studio Ghibli.
Or Ghibli?
Yeah.
Ghibli?
So it's definitely very obviously reminiscent of that. So let's see
Yeah.
here. IGN has uploaded 13 minutes of the gorgeous Studio Ghibli. That's right there. Had I only read like the first sentence. IGN has uploaded 13 minutes of the gorgeous Studio Ghibli themed game Baldo. The upcoming game is described as an action RPG full of puzzles and adventure, and it is heading to the Nintendo Switch system. Nap's team, the developers behind Baldo, the Guardian Owls, previously announced that the game will launch first for the Switch. However, an actual release date has still yet to be announced. So yeah, they showed 13 minutes. Were you able to watch any of it?
Yeah, I watched it. It was mostly they were in town, kind
Mm,
of talking to NPCs and doing some minor push puzzles and other elements like that. So I didn't really understand what I didn't get a good taste for what
yeah.
the full brevity of gameplay would be.
I'm definitely have to agree there. I was hoping for combat, if there is going to be combat, and they kind of tease that at the very, very end. If you watch it, there's kind of like this octopus type of monster
Uh,
that's taken over a ship or whatever. So I did want to see combat, did not see it. The UI is very generic. Maybe could use a little more customization. Uh, I had issues there. Obviously, visually, absolutely stunning. I like the music. Sounds really, really good. I I know it's coming from a small studio. I wish there was kind of voice acting. I didn't hear any voice work at all. So there was that as well. But yeah, other than that, I still think it's something to be kind of excited for. And I think a lot of people are. So
it's clearly Zelda esque
yeah.
in many ways, but I guess they like by they I mean the developers like the slower paced openings of Zelda games because if I had to guess, this was the opening sequence just by the number of hearts that
Yeah.
the character had. So it was definitely slow, and they didn't have one of the key things is in the artwork that you see for this game, the promo artwork, you see a sword and shield. So there's got to be combat, right? Why else would they have a sword and shield? But in the gameplay demo, the character doesn't have that sword and shield yet.
Hmm.
So hopefully, hey, get to that sword and shield ASAP so that things can get, you know, more exciting. They do
Yeah.
have a stamina system, so at least there's
Yeah,
that.
I hope there's yeah, I'm excited to see what the stamina system is. I hope there's some sort of magic component, whether it's kind of basic spells or whatever. I think that'd be kind of cool. But yeah, there wasn't really much to go off of there other than it seems like it might be more puzzle intensive.
Yeah, it's one to pay attention to because this could be a nice cross between modern Zelda and old Zelda.
Yeah, for sure. All right, we're not going to go too in depth with this because I know you could go on with this next thing for days.
Yeah, you
Uh,
want me to just quickly go through it?
yeah, sure.
All right. So, as I said before, Monster Hunter got an update to 2.0. There's a whole bunch of stuff that was added. So, if you're one, and it's a lot. They definitely provided enough material to satisfy for a month. So, what they did is they unlocked the hunter rank. They introduced a bunch of new monsters, large monsters to hunt. They added new village and hub quests. There's new monsters that are going to appear in the rampage quests. Let's see here. There are just overall some new quests. There are event quests. There are arena quests, and new requests by the NPCs. There are new weapon trees. There are new armor sets. There's new items, new petalaces that are made available, new skills that get tied to armor sets and whatnot, new rampage skills, which are tied to the weapons themselves. You can, they increase the level cap for armor, so your armor can be upgraded even further. There's new decorations that you can craft. So there was a few decorations actually, a decent amount that were missing. So now the recipes for those are now available. You can do layered armor, which is a pretty big deal, and you have to get these little vouchers for them. I think they're called like costume vouchers or something like that. And those you get on pretty much any high rank hub quest. You'll get at least one of those vouchers typically. And you just cash in those vouchers and maybe one or two other things, and you can start crafting a bunch of different layered armor stuff. You can also do layered armor for your Palico and Palamute. The level cap for your Palico and Palamute has been increased to level 50. And the base level of Palico and Palamutes has been increased, so you don't have to start them from such a lower level. So you can kind of hire them, and they'll start somewhere in the 20s, I believe, the upper 20s too. Let's see here. Guild cards awards are now available. I'm not too sure what that one is, or I haven't been able to utilize that just yet. Um, let's see here. You could change your hunter's appearance, so they do have this voucher thing. So if you messed up on the first boss of the game, which is the character creator, you can cash in these vouchers, character edit vouchers, and tweak your hair or your eye color or something like that, and get it as right as you want it to be. Uh, and there's some additional other DLC stuff that they added. It's typically going to be cosmetic and probably layered armor stuff. You can also buy more of those character edit vouchers. Then there was a whole slew of just bug fixes
A lot of
galore.
them.
Yeah, a lot of little tweaks. There was a pretty well known bug with talisman crafting of talismans. Um, the melding pot type of stuff, and it looks like they fixed all of those. A lot of fine tuning across the board. If you're wondering what some of the bigger monsters are, it's Chameleos, which they announced way back when, a month ago in the promo. Teostra, which I mentioned. Kushala Deora, which is like this weird iron silver dragon. It's like this metal dragon that spits out icy wind all over the place in tornadoes. Really cool fight. What else? Basil Basil juice, something like that.
Beetlejuice. Yep.
And it's this big giant elder dragon thing that has like weird like sacks underneath it that are explosive or scales. It's scales, not sacks. Like exploding scales. So like there's scales all over the place. It's just a great fight. I highly recommend fighting that thing if you're a gun lancer because that is the gun lancer set. That is oh so awesome. It'll make you very, very good at gun lancing with that set. So highly recommend it. There's just a bunch of stuff, event quests, which they are adding, I guess, kind of slowly. Although the event quests, they're giving you like ancillary things like poses and emotes,
Hmm.
um, and nothing too major. So I was kind of hoping that some of these event quests would give you other rewards or at the very least pump out quicker, but they are pumping them out. So I think they're rolling out these event quests like one per 2 weeks. That's what it feels like. So be on the lookout every now and then to check the DLC and see if another event quest has been downloaded.
Yeah,
And that's it until the end of this month, where they do the 3.0.
that's a lot of stuff.
It is a lot of stuff, a lot of stuff, a lot of very necessary stuff,
Hmm.
and just by providing the layered armor stuff, now you don't have to run around looking like you're just a cosmetic mess. You can. It's great, yeah.
Yeah,
All those
that would be me.
fine-tuning your character. This was the update where you could fine-tune your character, get more armor sets and all that, so, yeah.
Hmm.
And it was free.
Yeah,
Free.
that is the great thing about it. All right, cool. Let's head off to Rumorland.
Rumorland.
Woo-hoo. Do we? I still need to make some sound effects for that. Not so much a rumor. This did happen. Bandai Namco has registered trademarks for GameCube series Baton Kaitos.
And
You
Kato's Origin.
Yeah, you and I have talked about Baton Kaitos before. So it's Baton Kaitos Origins as well as Baton Kaitos. What was it? Eternal.
Eternal Wings and the
That's it.
Lost Ocean. Yep.
That's it.
So Baking Kato's Eternal Wings and the Lost Ocean is the first game that released on GameCube, which I have and beat. And then they made a prequel called Baton Kato's Origins, which I have and did not beat.
You're a terrible person.
Yeah, I know. It just wasn't as good as the first one, so it kind of lost me there.
Hmm.
Uh, Something to know about the Bait and Kato's games is that people that worked on Chrono Cross and also the team these were the people that eventually went into forming Monolith, right?
Um,
Monolith Soft.
I don't know if
The
that was the order. Now you're gonna make
I
me
just
look
sworn that
this
they
up.
eventually went into the Monolith Soft and creating Xenoblade and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. I'm not going crazy. All right.
Well,
And
that's debatable.
yeah. So what do you think this is? Why would they renew these
Well,
trade?
there's a couple of things. It could just be time to do it. Every so often, things are expiring. They want to keep their franchises. It's just something they need to do. Or it could be they're doing something with it. It could be a port. Uh, it could be some sort of a remaster or remake entirely, kind of reboot the entire series, which would also I would appreciate that more. I would appreciate a total reboot on the series, starting over, but I don't know. I
Uh, a reboot? Sure, it could be done. I mean, I don't think it's going to be worth the effort. What they could do is do like a Bait and Kato's 2. Right.
mhm.
I don't think that's this because this is
No,
trademarked for these game
yeah,
names specifically.
yeah, specific games.
Yeah. So what I think it's going to be is a remaster, not necessarily a remake, but a remaster, some sort of HD remaster. That's what I
Hmm.
think it's going to be. I hope they don't bother with Origins, but probably to like make the package more enticing for people to buy, they might group them together and do like a double pack HD remake,
Yeah,
which would be absolutely great. I just not too keen on the Origins one, but yeah, definitely Bait and Katos. That's some great stuff. It's going to be a lot of work for them too because that game utilized pre-rendered backgrounds, kind of
hmm,
like what you got in the Final Fantasy games of the PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 era,
right.
and there was a lot of, full motion video as part of the foreground and background elements that they had in there, so they have to basically re-render all of that at a higher resolution. I
They
hope they do.
they could do that.
If they don't do that, it's gonna look kinda pixelated and ugly. So I hope they re-render everything and make it, actually redo everything in HD. And if it does, it's gonna look gorgeous,
Right.
absolutely gorgeous. Because how they handled the game when they originally did it was a very beautiful world. The camera angle is relatively static, and your characters are kind of. It has sort of like an old school design that if you've played, RPGs on the PlayStation and whatnot, yeah, you're going to be very familiar with the gameplay. So don't expect, crazy gameplay. The uniqueness of the gameplay is going to be in the combat system, which is
Yeah.
this card based combat system. A good one too.
That's what really has me excited. I don't know anything about this story or anything, but I do know that it's got a pretty unique, not well, I guess you could say unique card battle system.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I haven't. played any of the, I mean, it's a card combat system, so
Hmm.
it's as unique as you can get with the card combat system.
Yeah.
A cool thing about it is that you're always trying to be more efficient with your deck building.
Mm.
So you're constantly taking your deck and sort of removing cards that you acquire and adding new cards, refining your deck. So that becomes a very important part of the combat system. So it's got this sort of fine tuning, min maxing that you have outside of combat, and then when you're in combat, sort of figuring out the best decision on how to play your cards out. So it's good
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, so we'll see. I don't know how far away this is, or again, this could just be kind of routine maintenance, or it could be something coming out. When will we see something? We don't know. All right, cool. A former Retro Studios developer says a Metroid Prime Trilogy Switch port would take a lot of effort, so I'm skeptical it'll happen. All right, moving on to the next story. We have. Oh, should we talk about that? He's skeptical. We shouldn't be talking about this now.
I think this person is just trying to distract so that when Nintendo eventually says, "Oh, look, Metroid Prime Trilogy for the Switch," people are going to be surprised. So I
Man,
think this is just like someone pointing, say, "Look over there," because obviously, when there's smoke, there's fire. This is happening.
I don't
This
know.
this is totally happening. So I don't know why this person is trying to say that there won't be a Metroid Prime trilogy. That's just crazy.
All right, so let me just read into this a little bit. Michael Wicken is a former developer at Retro Studios that had been lead designer on all three original Metroid Prime games, and he even ran the trilogy compilation project. Wicken explained in a Facebook post reply to a fan that porting Metroid Prime trilogy to the Switch would take a lot of effort, so I'm pretty skeptical it would happen. It was straightforward to update the MP1 and 2 to motion controls, but converting MP3 to normal controls would be a Herculean effort. So, what is he doing nowadays? He,
Yeah, exactly. What is he doing?
I'm wondering,
And and it says here on the effort itself, it says uh, let's see, let me read. Oh wow, this quote's a lot bigger than I thought. Okay. So the quote is Retro no longer has the functional editor tools to work with the prime code base, so everything would have to be brute force hard coded. Rebuilding the hundreds of interaction sets in Metroid Prime 3 alone, not to mention returning the gameplay to take in the slower engagement pacing of conventional controls would probably take a year with a 4 to 5 person team full time by itself. So that's it. That's
a
it. 4 to 5 people for
I would
one.
think I would think Nintendo would throw a lot more than that, or whoever they put on this, whether it's Retro or someone else. I think they'd put more than 4 to 5 people on
Well,
this project.
that's what this guy's predicting is. Let's just say it's 5 people. Let's get rid of the four number. All right, 5 people, 1 year. Are you
Hmm.
kidding? Like, of course they're gonna do it. That's not a Herculean effort.
I was looking to see. I was my rumor brain went. All right, let me just see what this guy's doing now. Is he like on another? Like, is he still a developer somewhere else? And he's not. He's not in the video game field at all. So he has no dog in the fight. You know what I mean?
How
So
long has he been gone from retro? Right?
it's yeah, it's been a while.
Exactly. So this guy's basing it on what he understands. And look, everything he says sounds accurate and valid,
Hmm.
but this is kind of disregarding the assistance that Nintendo would likely provide. The reason why I'm mentioning this is Nintendo is porting, as we all know, Skyward Sword.
Yes.
And I don't care what you think about the Metroid Prime 3 game. Nothing comes close to the amount of gyro controls that Skyward Sword has. and yet Nintendo is bringing it to the Switch. It's coming out in a couple of months.
Right.
So, I mean, come on. Nintendo probably has tools that can convert the motion controls
Some
over
button input
to
or
relatively easy, or develop the tools in order to convert the gyro controls into the Switch controls, and they could very easily hand it off to the Retro Studio team or whoever is doing the port, or it could have been the opposite, where the trilogy was in development and was done
hmm
2 years ago, likely, or maybe a year ago, what have you, and they gave the tool over to Nintendo, and Nintendo's like, "Oh, we could easily just port our Skyward Sword."
yeah.
It's happening. I mean, come on, it's happening. If Skyward Sword and its crazy gyro
Mm.
control dependency can make it to the Switch, Metroid Prime is making it to the Switch. No question.
Well, I know no other person that wants it more than you, so I hope it happens.
I want it so bad for your sake.
For my sake, you're right. All right, I'll finally get to play
Yeah, one of
it.
the greatest, games of all time, or trilogies of all time.
Oh, someday, someday. All right, another ESRB rating leak, I guess. So ESRB rates a Nino Kuni 2 Revenant Kingdom Princess Edition for the Switch. I think this is going to be an E3 announcement.
Yeah.
Um, so this originally appeared on PlayStation 4 back in March 2018. Appears to be Nintendo Switch bound. The ESRB recently rated the Nintendo Switch version of the hit JRPG although it has yet to be announced by Bandai Namco or Level 5. The original Level 5 game appeared on the Nintendo Switch and is available now via the eShop. So yeah, this would be kind of cool if we got this.
This is totally happening.
Yeah, yeah. This one's a little more concrete than the other rumors.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you.
So yeah,
Like,
expect this one.
yeah.
Now, in terms of, I'm not sure which one people like more, one or two. I don't know which one is more favorable.
One
One,
is the more favorable one, yeah.
yeah. I mean, they
There
both.
are elements in the sequel that are interesting, but
Mm-hmm.
one is definitely the more memorable one.
Okay. I mean, they both look pretty stinking cool.
They do. Yeah.
All right, expect that E3. All right, some heavier news topics. Let's get into this one here, please. Konami confirms it won't be present
Ah,
at E3 2021. Konami, I really want to say what I I really want to say, but I can't. Okay, F Konami. All right, I am so tired of their shenanigans and their pachinko machines and and all their other stuff. Konami is just, I think this is what they have to say. Due to timing, we will not be ready to present at E3 this year. We want to reassure our fans that we are in deep development on a number of key projects. So please stay tuned for some updates in the coming months. What the
yeah.
hell have you been doing? Seriously.
That statement is, hey, all you fans that used to remember when we were an awesome publisher, uh, don't berate us with your hate for us not being at E3, because sorry, all of our projects are in casino-based gaming.
And I want to say I don't remember exactly when it was. I recall them like being in the forefront of E3 this year. Like they really wanted it to happen, and and then all of a sudden they just come out with this. Uh,
And
whatever.
and by the way, when I say casino-based gaming, that's not a lie. That is,
No, not at
like,
all.
me personally, I interviewed with Konami in order to develop casino games. It
Oh,
was
really?
a yes, yes. I went to I went to an interview. This was a virtual interview thing, and this was going back a few years. So what they're doing right now, I don't know. But this is going back a few years, and I definitely interviewed with with Konami peeps about possibly making games for casinos. The 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 group was located in Vegas area. I believe it was in Nevada, if
Mhm.
I'm remembering correctly. Excuse me if I get these details wrong because it was many years ago. But yeah, so yeah, I heard about it was like Konami looking for programmers and game developers. Like, all right, and I'm getting all excited for the interview, and then I'm like, oh, it's casino. Oh,
All right,
it's
it's so bad. And I'm just looking back. All right, what do they have to offer us? Well, they have Pro Evolution Soccer. They have Metal Gear, which they're just sitting on. They have Castlevania, which they're just sitting on. They also have Suikoden, which they're just sitting on. In fact, you have their former developers making their own thing, breaking Kickstarter .com. What else do they have in terms of? I mean, they,
Uncharted.
I'm trying to reach on or talk more about RPGs, but yes, they have Contra. Their latest Contra was absolutely terrible. They have my beloved series Silent Hill. I absolutely love Silent Hill, and they just continue to just ignore it. That's
Yeah,
essentially what they're doing. They're just ignoring their IPs. Why get rid of them? You know, just get rid of them. Give them to someone who actually cares about people that play games.
and license them.
Yeah,
Like
or just license them. 'Cause they're yours. Just like have someone else handle it.
exactly, just license it out to a studio that actually cares about it. And they don't lose the IP. They could still make their Pachinko and other machines for it. So just
It
license.
it's very silly. I cannot stand what Konami does in terms of video games. I mean, obviously they're making their own business decisions, but whatever.
Okay, so let's move on to other E3 related news.
Yes. Well, this is pre E3. This is EA Play Live 2021. It's taking place on July 2nd. 22nd.
Is it?
I'm sorry.
Is that pre E3?
Yeah, I don't think it's the same time. I think they did this last year too,
Oh,
or
that's
or
after
po
E3.
yeah, post E3. So EA Play, they're kind of doing their own thing. So they're not going to be, I don't believe, at E3, are they? They're
No, they don't. EA doesn't do E3. They usually hold their event the Friday and Saturday before E3, that weekend just before E3.
yeah,
But obviously there's no physical E3, so it looks like this event is going to be 1 month after E3.
yeah. I knew that we had a list of some of the bigger developers, and I was looking here. I see it here. EA is definitely not on there.
Yep.
So they're going to have their EA Play July 22nd, which is quite a bit after the regular E3. So let's see here. Last year's cancellation E3 meant that unless they took part in the Summer of Gaming event, many companies held their own independent digital events to promote their upcoming game releases. Some companies had not been used to producing pre-recorded videos to accomplish this, but other companies such as EA had been doing it during the week of E3 for years now, like you just mentioned. So yeah, that's what they're going to do. Now, what could they possibly be showing? Do we care about what EA is doing?
Yeah, we do. Right?
Do we?
Mass Effect trilogy. Right?
Yeah.
We do know that Dragon Age.
I was just gonna say. I mean, that's. I hope that they come out for with a Dragon Age for the Switch.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'd be able to get a Dragon Age Inquisition, but I really wouldn't mind that. I know that game gets a lot of hate, but you know, Dragon Age Origins, Dragon Age Inquisition, I think it would give the opportunity for people to play that, and they're all decent, well, are actually really good games that EA has. So yeah, so they own, you know, they own BioWare. So you would mention Mass Effect. Yep.
Yep. There's other stuff that EA does do that is, you know, is interesting. So I don't I don't want to hate on EA too much. So there could be something, right? There
Yeah.
could be something.
Like, could we also get like Knights of the Old Republic? again, we're talking ports here. I mean, it's just what we do. We see so much of it. That's why we're like, we just assume like, just do that. I guess.
Well, if that was gonna be a thing, I would have imagined that would have happened the announcement for that would have happened on May 4th, and we didn't really
Th-
get anything on May 4th, so,
Did I thought we did? What didn't we get the Bad Batch? Was that on May 4th? The animation.
I can't remember.
Oh, now you got me googling this. The Bad
Uh,
Batch, and I don't know when it was announced, but it is out. I haven't been able to watch it yet. First episode was May 4th. Bam. Cool.
there you
Yeah. Let me get back on track. You got me on Star Wars land.
Now we're going to Nintendo stuff.
Nintendo.
A couple of major announcements for Nintendo. I'll just go through them. So Nintendo president has said future acquisitions would be driven by tech innovation. And I'm going to tie this into something that we're going to talk about later on. But here's a direct quote. And by the way, all of these articles that we're kind of reading off of all come from My Nintendo News. Shout out to them. They do a great job. So the quote from Shuntaro Furukawa is, "We need to secure cash reserves to ensure financial stability. But if we need to respond to rapidly advancing technological innovation, we may acquire companies that possess the technology."
Ooh.
And they have cash. Nintendo has got the cash. They are rich. Filthy. Filthy rich. Especially with the success of the Switch. Hey,
Yeah.
that rhymes.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a stockholder in Nintendo, and it's just increasingly gone up. So
Yeah, it's been at its highest. Uh, it hasn't reached this type of height since the Wii.
yeah, it's been a while, but it's nice to see. But yeah, further acquisitions. I wonder what that could be.
Yeah, I
Well,
wonder. Well, we could speculate, and we will.
like the example that's given here. So, Nintendo president, like you had mentioned, has talked to investors and analysts about future acquisitions that the company could make in future. Microsoft recently purchased game studio Bethesda, and Sony has acquired a stake in Discord. So that's just a stake in Discord. They don't own Discord.
Yep.
Um, so what you had thoughts on this?
Yeah, yeah. So, for example, they acquired not too long ago. What was it? Intelligent Systems. Who did Luigi's Mansion 3? Right,
Who
that
did?
team.
Okay,
And obviously, the graphical tech, right? They're
Gre-
they're very capable on that engine because Luigi's Mansion 3 is a very beautiful. It's one of the best looking games on Switch.
I have here next level games.
Next level games. Okay, there we go. So, and that was an acquisition by Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking what they might do is they might either gobble up more developers
Hmm.
or they're going to gobble up bigger fish, bigger fish than that. What I don't see them doing is gobbling up companies that specifically produce uh tech or ancillary game support technology. Something like Discord, I don't see them acquiring something like that.
Boy,
They've done this.
that would help them though.
It would. They have what they have done in the past is Factor 5 Studios, going way back in the GameCube days.
Mm.
They did acquire some degree of of um, of ownership over them. I don't know how much, but Factor 5 was a silent second party or something like that, or a pseudo second party studio of Nintendo, where they made Rogue Squadron and Rogue Leader and all that stuff.
Hmm.
Um, and the reason why they grabbed that tech company was because they were really excellent audiophiles, and they had some of the best gaming audio technology out there. So they gobble them up for that, and they're very capable on the graphical prowess on the technological standpoint. So they might do something like that for very specific studios that are which they've already done with Next Level Gaming. Um,
They have nine
but when it
point
comes to like a Discord type of purchase, I just don't.
yeah, they have $9.2 billion in cash reserves, by the way.
Wow, wow, that's insane. You
Um,
you
yeah,
know
so
what?
if their future acquisitions would be driven by tech innovation. Now, they're typically Nintendo is just known for, really thinking outside of the box. So this is interesting. This could mean anything, really. Huh.
Well, I have a very strong idea what it could be. What it could be.
VR.
No, absolutely
No.
not.
No.
No, Nintendo already explored the VR thing. They're completely out.
Okay. Sega.
Wow. You know
They're gonna buy Sega.
that that is not an impossibility.
No, it is not. That is my thought.
Well, why not? Sega's not exactly a expensive company. They're not doing gangbusters or anything like that.
No, but it'd just be in the old console wars, right? That was it. It was Sega versus Nintendo. Nintendo won. Just an FYI, Sega. I don't know how true this is. Net worth 4.42 billion.
But Nintendo could gobble up Sega
They could
entirely and
and have
still have leftover cash.
and have a lot more left over. Yeah, I don't think they'd do that. What they would really be acquiring is a lot of the licenses. I think that might be worth it.
Yeah, so the reason why they wouldn't do that is because Sega doesn't really have the tech.
No, they don't at all. They just have the licenses.
Although the Yakuza team,
Oh yeah,
they got some good stuff going there.
yeah.
Uh, but the licenses that Sega's sitting on, there's a lot of licenses there. And
Mm-hmm.
imagine having Sonic in the hands of the Mario team. Just saying.
All right, yeah. Just saying, just saying.
That
All right,
wasn't the company I was thinking of. But you are on the right track.
okay.
Pub- Nintendo has enough money to gobble up publishers.
Who are you thinking?
We could talk about that later.
Fine.
And by later, I mean very, very soon.
Like next?
As soon as we go into the main topic.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll get there. Okay.
Yeah.
Relax. All right. We're gonna skip over a few things here. Bandai Namco, Gearbox Software, Sega, Square Enix, Xseed Games, and more, showcasing E3 2021. Um, like I said, there are a lot of this one feels more normal than opposed to what last year is. It's still digital, but I mean, again, I'm just curious as to how they're gonna really wrap this into a nice little neat package, like it had been in the past. So yeah, we will see. But don't forget, E3 is June 12th through 15th, and there's going to be a lot going on. Like I said, this feels more normal, which is kind of cool. All right, Gamescom 2021 will be an all digital online event. Last year this was I don't even think anything happened at Gamescom 2020. Let me see if there was anything. Do you recall anything from Gamescom 2020? I want to say it was a complete dud.
Yeah, I don't there was probably some stuff, but nothing major that I can remember.
Yeah. Well, let me just take a look at some of the highlights at Gamescom here. Oh well, I guess we had Dragon Age 4 first look trailer, some Sea of Thieves stuff, World of Warcraft stuff. Again, there wasn't much. Hopefully we see a little bit more, but the highlight for sure. Oh, I'm sorry. Biggest game announcement: Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, which is I think coming out shortly, which looks absolutely insane, by the way. But yeah, it was Dragon Age 4 and Ratchet and Clank. So again, two pretty big announcements there. All right, cool. Let's get into the main topic. Our main topic is some of our E3 predictions. I, of course, have listed 2 or 3 things. Johnny has written 4 full paragraphs on what he is going to predict here. um, so I don't know. Do you want to go over one of your smaller predictions?
All right. Here's my issue. You
What?
gobbled up all the good ones.
Just one of your issues? Oh, okay. I see what you mean. Okay,
I'm just saying, you gobbled up all the good predictions.
because they're all right. They are.
They
They are.
are going to be right. Yeah. They're also safe ones. So I'll throw out one of my a couple of my safeties. Bayonetta 3.
Yep.
That's an obvious.
Yep.
A new Smash DLC character.
Of course. Yep.
That's an obvious one.
Who will it be though? Master Chief.
Oh,
Master
uh,
Chief.
it could be one of the rumored ones. It could be that Microsoft rumored character, Master Chief.
Yep.
Could be. Although we did get Steve, so now I'm thinking maybe not.
Hmm. Okay.
Or it could be Doom Guy.
Doom guy. There you go.
Be the Doom Guy, and you know what? Because they can't do Doom Guy and Master Chief because they're kind of the same thing. So if they had to pick, and Nintendo's relationship with Bethesda is pretty good, and now that Microsoft owns Bethesda,
Vault
and
Boy. Sorry.
you think Vault Boy is better than Doom Guy?
Vault Boy. I
If
don't even know what kind of weapon he would have, honestly.
Vault Boy would work out better because Vault Boy is a cartoon.
Yeah.
So it would be on the level of like Game and Watch. So I can
Yeah.
totally see that.
But you
I'm,
think
I'm with it. If it's Vault Boy or Doom Guy or Master Chief, yes, definitely yes. So
okay.
it could be any of those things. But a new Smash character, at least one new Smash character. Who knows? They might surprise us with one, and it's available right now, kind of moment, and then a teaser for whatever the next one's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
They could double tap like that.
Okay.
Uh, so let's see here. So those are my safe predictions. I'll go into less safe territory in that there's going to be a brand new Nintendo game title thing.
Some new IP.
Some new franchise,
Oh,
something brand new that we've never thought of before or heard of before. What genre it is, I have no clue. It's Nintendo. It's unpredictable.
sure is. Yep.
All right. And that, to me, I think that's also a very safe prediction. So,
Okay.
all right,
All right.
you want to list off some of yours, or do
Yeah,
you want?
yeah, sure. No, I mean, I have listed here, Metroids. Now, this could be the Metroid Primes, 1, 2, and 3. It could be a remake of Samus Returns or whatever, or they bring on Samus Returns. The
HD? Yeah.
Yeah. So something, side-scrolling. Um, definitely something Metroid. I don't know that we're ever gonna see Metroid Prime 4. I don't know if we're ever gonna see that.
You
Uh,
know what? I think we are going to see Metroid Prime 4. I think we're going to see a trailer.
I don't. I don't
I
think
think
so.
I think we're going to see a trailer for it. Just a because it's been over. Has it been 2.5 years since they restarted the production?
It's about that. That sounds about right.
Yeah, so 2.5 years restarting from scratch,
Right.
and it's not entirely from scratch because the Retro Studios people did pitch a demo to Nintendo that made Nintendo decide to scrap what they've done and move production over to the Retro team.
Right.
So it's not exactly they're not starting from scratch, absolute scratch. So they got something 2.5 years later, and they've been hiring like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's a possibility of Metroid Prime 4, but there is for certain a bigger possibility of seeing the other Metroid stuff that you mentioned.
Yeah, I think there's more of a possibility in seeing the other ones than there is on Metroid Prime 4. But
And there has to be, because this is the 35th year anniversary of Metroid.
yeah, did you see what they did for the 35th year of Zelda?
Yeah, they announced so much stuff.
So much, all that stuff that was announced.
Skyward Sword.
A remake of the worst Zelda game ever. Yes, that's what they announced.
And what was it, a controller or a console? Right?
Joy-Cons.
Yes, Joy-Cons. See?
Yeah, I'm getting them. Don't get me wrong. I will be
And
getting them.
DLC for Hyrule Warriors, right?
Yeah. Wow. Calm it
Right, there you go. They got
calm
something.
calm it down, Nintendo. You're getting wild. I mean, it's not even close to what they did for Mario. Now I understand Mario is really what Mario is Nintendo, right? So or Nintendo is Mario, whatever the case may be. I understand that, but I mean, don't forget Zelda is selling is making your money. It really, I mean, let's be honest
More
with
than that,
ourselves.
Zelda Breath of the Wild has outsold Mario Odyssey.
Right. I'm talking in terms of anything Mario related or anything Zelda related. I mean, they're 1A, 1B, honestly. I mean, don't do Zelda wrong, okay? And they're doing
Well, I
Zelda
don't
wrong.
know about 1A and 1B. Mario definitely 1A. I think 1B is probably Animal Crossing at this point,
Get out of here.
or Smash Brothers.
Get out of here.
Zelda
Oh,
is not the second most profitable Nintendo franchise,
oh yes. Yeah, I mean,
unfortunately.
even in like, like materials or not materials or like collectibles, like all that stuff takes you got to take all that into consideration.
All of that. I mean, the value, the overall value and the potential value of Zelda, yes. Yes. I
Mhm.
see it as being their number 2. I don't see, like, Animal Crossing ever being as, like, well regarded and treasured as the Zelda franchise, although Animal Crossing is the second best selling Switch game of all
Yeah.
time,
Yeah. I mean,
behind
right
Mario.
right game, right time. That's I mean, other than that, had that been released any other I mean, it is what it is at this point, but had that game released any other time, I don't think it would have done as well, but whatever. It's neither here nor there. It is what it is.
Yeah, and we're talking about Zelda because Zelda is your other prediction, right?
Yeah,
So
Zelda. I have again. I as I put Metroids, I put Zeldas. I think we're actually gonna see Nintendo do Zelda right with the 35th anniversary. We're gonna have a little bit more of a a little bit of a show with Zelda. They're gonna show off some, whether it be some more older titles or lesser known titles, coming back. That sort of thing. I think we're gonna see more stuff, and then potentially Breath of the Wild too. I think it's time we actually see something there
that's
more.
what I think. I think it's going to be Breath of the Wild 2. I don't think Nintendo's going to dig into their backlog, their Zelda backlog.
Yeah,
I think they've already exhausted that. They've done the Wind Waker, they've done Twilight Princess, they've done Majora's Mask. They have beaten the Ocarina of Time horse so many times that
yeah,
that's
right. I mean, how many times can you purchase Ocarina of Time? Guaranteed. You put it on the Switch, whether it's on the Nintendo Switch Online app, which for some reason has gotten ignored recently. It hasn't been any new games coming on that.
yeah.
Or is that how they bring it on? All right, you can play Ocarina of Time. You can play all these older Zelda games, Nintendo Switch Online. So that'll sell that there. That's kind of my thought with that is really kind of beef up their Nintendo Online, add some more games, which again, like I said, we haven't seen. I don't even remember the last time we saw a game on there.
It's gonna be Breath of the Wild 2, man.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
if there's a time, like, if they don't show it at this E3, show it.
Yeah. When do they show it? Right.
there is no good time other than like E3 next year or during like the Game Awards. Meh,
Man.
meh.
And that's kind of where my next one goes into. I have Monolith Soft is represented, whether that be a new title, and I think that's where we're going to see the new title. It's going to be with Monolith Soft, and they have their hands in Breath of the Wild too. So again, they will have a showing there. It won't be a Xenoblade Chronicles. It'll be something all new, brand
Yeah,
new.
and given that they've been hiring like demons,
Yeah,
just
they
expanding.
they've showed off some concept art of whatever they were working on like over 2 years ago. So they got to be somewhere not close to the end, but somewhere enough where they can show something off, whether it's a trailer or cinematic or a teaser of some
Yeah,
sort. I think now, obviously now would be the time to show something from Monolith Soft. So that's really what I think the new IP will be. But you know, it is Nintendo. Like we said, you just never know.
I'm with you. Something's coming from Monolith Soft. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
what else you got?
All right, let's go into some of my juicier tidbits. So I'll lump sum a couple of them that are in my wish list, and I'll start off with a bang, with a flash, with a bolt of lightning and speed and adrenaline. F-Zero.
They don't need Nintendo forgot what F Zero is, so just forget about it. Like they have.
It's certainly happening. You know what? I think the game that Retro Studios has been working on in between, these various little side additions and ports that they've worked on, I think it was an F-Zero game. And I
Was,
think
yeah.
they're going to announce it and it's going to come out this year and it's going to be absolutely incredible. I
Hmm?
hope. Been so much like little mentionings of the F-Zero franchise here and there in the news, and the whole re-recording thing that happened for Smash Brothers that was completely unnecessary. And I mentioned this, right? Because
Yeah.
during a podcast that we did, like you don't bring on the voice actor for Captain Falcon just so that you can record him eating ramen. You don't
You don't?
you for something that minor and trivial? No.
Yeah, you do.
Maybe. I mean, Nintendo's crazy, and especially Sakurai. But I'm crossing my fingers. I think there's going to be a legitimate sequel to F Zero, and not like some sort of port, and not some sort of sequel or remaster or HD remake, what have you. I think it's going to be a legitimate F Zero ground up boom, boom, Sonic boom.
No, Sonic the Hedgehog, maybe, but not Sonic Boom. F Zero.
All right. So another crazy franchise, and this is kind of in the same vein as F-Zero, although I would say this one is a little less likely, and that is a Star Fox game. It
Okay.
it could be a port of Star Fox Zero, right? For the Wii U,
Yep.
which was all right. But I think if they do port it, it won't be a straight obviously it cannot be a straightforward port. They would have to change things very dramatically. So mm, what they might do is they may take all the assets and development effort that went into that and the engine and
Hmm.
just build a brand new Star Fox game, leveraging the tech that they had and the assets that they built for Star Fox on the Wii U, Star Fox Zero. So it might be like a Star Fox Zero Two or whatever Star Fox Armada, Barricade, whatever it is Star Fox Warp Speed.
You're even titling it, huh?
And they'll just be a Star Fox game because they can use what they did to a certain degree, not the gameplay,
Yeah.
right?
Assets,
Not
you mean?
not not that dual screen gameplay stuff. It didn't work out too well. but they could take the assets and they can hit the ground running with a Star Fox sequel of some sort or new entry, what have you. So I hope they do that because I would love to see just a return to form of Star Fox.
Hmm.
And Zero was kind of a return to form, but just not quite what people wanted. Too
Yeah,
much gimmick mechanic.
yeah, that's what happens when you're trying to implement whatever hardware, and it's Nintendo, so they're gonna want to really try and showcase whatever it is that they have. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna let you keep going.
Yeah, 'cause I do have a bit more here. All right, so now we're getting into everyone's hopes and dreams. Tears will will be shed when this does not happen. This is probably one of the least likely possibilities and predictions that are going to occur. But I'm kind of bound. You could say I'm earthbound to say that Earthbound is going to make a triumphant return this E3. Uh, and maybe it's you know what I would love? If they just took the engine of Octopath and just made a remake of Earthbound in
In
the
that,
Octopath engine. How beautiful would that be?
yeah, yeah, it would be beautiful, but it's just not happening. We're not we're
Brand
not we're
new
not getting it.
or a brand new Earthbound game.
A
Uh,
brand new one, I would be probably we'll probably get that over,
Yeah.
Earthbound 3,
What it's likely gonna
Mother
be,
3.
it's gonna be Mother 3. Yeah, it's gonna be Earthbound 3. It'll be the port of the what was that, a Game Boy Advance game?
Mm.
So that's probably what's gonna be, just to make the fans shut up. It'll probably be that because what's his name? Luke or Lucas is in Smash Brothers, and no
Right.
one knows where Lucas is from. Like the game has never reached here in the States. And everyone's like, where's Mother 3?
Who the
So
hell
anyway,
are you?
yeah, I gotta make that recommendation. It's probably not gonna happen, or prediction, but it's probably not gonna happen.
Yeah, I think that's like we do this every year.
Yeah.
Earthbound.
All right, so now let's get into I think the juiciest of juicy things. And this first one's a safe one. I think it's pretty safe. This is going to be the moment where Nintendo announces their Super Switch, Switch Pro, whatever you want to call it, their next iteration of the Switch hardware,
Okay.
and it'll be that not a major leap forward, but a big enough leap forward in graphical capabilities, not 4K. If you hear people say 4K, it ain't gonna do 4K. Nintendo ain't gonna do that. But I
I I
think
I just wanted to run games smoothly with
yeah.
no issues. That's all I care about.
It could do 4K, but it's not gonna run games at 4K. It'll upscale to 4K,
That's
and
okay.
if it's some sort of video app like Netflix or something like that, um, even though Netflix is not on Switch, uh, that will absolutely be in 4K. But for everything else, it won't be rendering anything at 4K. But
Yeah.
yeah, Super Switch hardware. This I think is a very safe bet, but obviously Nintendo could monkey wrench the whole thing, and this this won't happen. But there's just too many rumors, too many obvious instances of it's gotta happen. So that's a recommendation or a prediction. And plus all the games that they have coming up, they kind of look like they're gonna need to have a little bit more horsepower to run.
Yeah. Now, what if we see something different in terms of hardware? What if we see like another mini console? Like whether it's the N64 mini or a GameCube mini, something like that.
They wouldn't do a GameCube Mini because they would it, they could so easily just port those games over to the Switch as they already have.
Yeah, you could say that for any of the NES mini or the SNES mini. You could say it with that as well. They could have ported a lot of those games on the Switch.
Yeah, but there's not enough of a nostalgia factor with GameCube. I mean, I would be nostalgic of the GameCube, but it's also the distance maybe it just isn't quite there yet.
I don't know. GameCube is pretty old.
It is pretty old, but Nintendo 64 is older.
Yeah, it's terrible though. It's what are you gonna put like 4 good games on it?
Stop
Eh,
you.
And
Stop you.
I have an N64 shirt on, and I wear it with freaking pride. Look, check it out, N64. Okay,
You wear a pride.
it's
You.
it's more like a scarlet letter, but whatever.
Oh my goodness. Every opportunity you have to poop on the N64, you just
uh,
all over it.
it's great. It's good times.
Another or prediction is, and this is kind of what I was hitting at before, right? Nintendo has this massive bank of cash available to them, and they could gobble up dev studios as they have been acquiring here and there. But what I think they're gonna do is they're gonna gobble up a publisher, and a publisher I think they're gonna gobble up is Bandai Namco.
There's absolutely no way this happens.
They have a really good relationship with Bandai Namco. Really good.
Why would Bandai Namco do this? There's no need for them to do this.
They
They
have no say because Nintendo's just gonna throw money and gobble them with the
so they
money
just
monster.
like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. I accept. that's that's it.
If you convert the revenue of Bandai Namco into dollars, it's two right around 2 billion, give or take, on the yearly revenue.
Okay.
So if you take that number and multiply it by 10, which is usually what you have to do, if you want to do an 100% acquisition, we're
hmm
talking 20 billion, give or take, 20 to 25 billion to acquire Bandai Namco. Nintendo can do that, but this obviously won't be a full for a company as big as Bandai Namco. This won't be a full takeover of the company, a full purchase.
Right.
What I think they'll do is they'll take majority ownership of Bandai Namco, which means they don't have to do that big giant gobble up of 10 times the revenue, so they can get it for halfway into it for 2 billion ish, give or take,
Right.
whatever it is. Throw the money in there and now get dominant control, 50% or 30%, whatever the majority ownership is of Bandai Namco. And that's all they need to do. And boom, all of a sudden Nintendo has beloved franchises like Pac-Man and the Tales series and a
Dark
whole
Dark Souls.
a whole slew of stuff. Well,
Well,
weird territory with Dark
yeah,
Souls, but yeah.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. That's a reach.
Look, Bandai Namco has worked with Nintendo for Nintendo franchises
Yep. Oh, I
in
know.
the past, and not too long ago, right? They assisted with Smash Brothers.
They
They,
assisted with Arms.
yep, they were working with Nintendo on the Metroid Prime, and that failed. But something went on there. That's a different story. But there's other stuff, and
I
we
think
also have
they're. I think they might even be working. Bandai Namco. That is. I think they're working on the newer. We're hearing a lot about Donkey Kong. I think that's what they're working on with Nintendo.
yeah, yeah. So that's what I think. I think Nintendo has been working with them, and the relationship has been real good. They got the Pac-Man 99 going on for free on the as part of the Nintendo Online subscription.
hmm
I think this is kind of a shoe, and I think we're gonna see
Kind of a shoe in.
kind of a far-fetched shoe in.
Far fetched shoe in. I don't know that that even makes sense, but we'll go with it.
All right, so I got let's see, I got one last prediction. It's my last one. Do you want to go over your last one, or should I go over my last one?
Yeah, I've actually heard some rumors about this, so I don't know what to make of it. But I think we're going to get some sort of a Fire Emblem remaster. I'm not sure what iteration we were, what I what I was hearing. Let me just see if I can quickly look it up. So I would think we'll get something Fire Emblem related. Um,
Yeah, I think the rumor was a remake or remaster of the GameCube games.
was that a oh of all of them? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Radiant, what was it? Well, there was one GameCube and then one on the Wii. It was Radiant, Dawn and or I could be getting it wrong. Radiant Dawn might have been the one on Wii. Ah, what was it? Fire Emblem. I have. I beat those games.
It's
Well,
been a
not the Wii.
while.
I beat the GameCube one. What was that?
Path of Radiance
Path of
and
Radiance and Radiant Dawn. Okay,
yes,
there we go. So Path of Radiance is the GameCube one. Uh, Great game. And Radiant Dawn, which I didn't play, is a sequel to Path of Radiance.
yeah. So I don't know. I think there were the like we had said before, where there's smoke, there's fire. So we'll see. I'm actually looking at an article where it says it's been debunked. But
I wouldn't want them to do that.
yeah, I think you said it a while back that Three Houses is probably it's their zenith, it's their pinnacle, it's the best of all of the Fire Emblems. Why would you want to go back and play something that's just not as good? I mean, unless the narrative is there, which I'm not entirely sure. Is it worth replaying those games for the narrative and maybe their archaic systems? I wouldn't know, but
No, I don't think so. I think the only Fire Emblem that narratively might be worth going back to and remaking would be the fourth one on the Super Nintendo, which never made it here to the States. So
okay,
that one I could see.
yeah,
But any of the other prior ones, I just narratively they're not going to be comparable to Three Houses.
okay. Well, that's all I got.
Okay, and my last prediction is, and Nintendo has very recently been talking about this, and that is Nintendo is going to announce and potentially show a trailer for some sort of CG or animated series or movie relating to one of their franchises. So we could see like a Mario cartoon series or a Mario movie or a Zelda series, CG or cartoon series, or a Zelda movie or something else in the Nintendo sort of franchise of things.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'd love to see a Zelda movie.
yep. and
That would,
and not Pokemon, obviously, because Pokemon stuff is already happening.
yeah. And maybe that's where we're talking like the tech, the CG to make movies is probably a little different than CG making video games. So
Yep.
maybe that's where they're gonna throw more money at. And you know what? And they could have their own Nintendo movie division and make just as much money, whether it be series or full fledged films. I think they could make a lot of money should they have the right people behind it. The good writing, man, that could make or break a show, right? So have good writers taking over. You know,
Nintendo and good writing.
well, you're gonna need it. You're gonna need it.
I don't know if they're gonna have good writing, but it'll look good. It'll be entertaining, absolutely. But good writing,
Well, I think it depends on the material. Like if you're just showing a Mario movie, you got to remember your base is kids. I mean, how you don't need like George R. R. Martin to be writing scripts. Do you know what I mean? Like depends on. I think Zelda should have a good writer. I
well,
think.
absolutely, absolutely. If it is a Zelda franchise related thing, they cannot mess up the writing.
Right. You could even have a Fire Emblem movie, whether it be live action or, completely animated. It's got to have good writing, you know.
Yes,
Or
Fire
Donkey Kong
Emblem.
or a Donkey Kong movie, you don't again, you have to, weigh it out. You don't need crazy writing for Donkey Kong.
Nah, that would be absolute comedy right there. I would love a Donkey Kong
Mhm.
that is just slapstick comedy humor.
Right.
Yeah, almost on the level of Looney Tunes, but done in a Nintendo and Donkey Kongish way.
Mhm.
That'd be something good. If it was Fire Emblem, it's got to be a series. They wouldn't be able to tackle an engaging enough story
Yep.
as as a movie. So
I would like to see it done in an anime style like Castlevania is doing. That's the only freaking thing Konami has going for it. The Castlevania series on Netflix is freaking phenomenal.
yes,
Actually, it's out. tomorrow. Yeah,
Oh,
the
oh,
13th. The new season is out tomorrow.
the
Um,
final season at
if
that.
yeah, if you could do like a good, like a darker series, Zelda would work fine. I think in that sort of style, an anime-esque style, I think that would work out great. A Fire Emblem would work. A
It,
Xenoblade would work. Like, well, maybe Xenoblade wouldn't work. I think
it's
the
just not big enough. Unfortunately, Xenoblade is just not
yeah,
big enough. You
yeah. I
know
don't
what
think.
would work real good is a Metroid. Now, storyline wise, I don't know how that would work. It wouldn't be a series, but they could pull off a movie, like some sort of Metroid movie.
Yep. It would have to be some sort of survival horror movie, like it's intended to. I think that's what Metroid is intended to be, a survival horror movie, like Aliens. That's really the
Exactly.
inspiration there.
Yep.
And stay with that inspiration. Don't do what Aliens did and stray away. But like maybe, yeah, definitely keep it more survival horror. Um, the problem is that I'd be afraid they'd go the Resident Evil path and make it too Hollywood, if that makes sense at all. Or even what Monster Hunter did, they just went way too Hollywood and over dramatized things. But keep it simple. Metroid doesn't isn't known for its dialogue, so that's a little tough. But yeah, I think you could pull something off if you have good people behind it.
Yeah, and you know what? The Metroid movie thing is not far-fetched. There have been directors in the past that have
Hmm.
worked on Metroid movie projects. So
Yeah, I want to say I forget. I think it was Henry Cavill, the guy who does The Witcher. I forget what he said he would really, really like to be working on. I'm trying to remember what it was. I want to say it was something Nintendo based, but
interesting.
he seems to be in all the video game movies right now. Let me see if I can quickly find it. Oh no, never mind. Anyway, so yeah, that is our rumors, which will all be true. Thank you very much. Let's quickly go over some of the upcoming RPGs and call this a night. We have Rise Eternal, like we mentioned really early before May 13th. That's a tactical RPG done in a pixel art style. We have Project Knight. Project Knight is coming out May 15th. Not sure what to make of this game. It really is a voxel, probably Zelda esque. I think that's kind of what they're going for. Action
Yeah, it
action RPG.
yeah, it's I don't know. It just doesn't look quality-wise, it looks a little sketchy.
Yeah, I agree. Um, and then next we have May 20th is Rising Hell. For some reason, it is not opening up on my end. Can you
Now this
describe it?
game looks good. Visually, it looks good.
Ah, there we go. Okay. Yeah. Wow, there's a lot going on here.
Yeah. Yeah. But this has been a game that has been, I guess, shown out and about here and there for a while. It's been lurking around and now it's, I guess, finally releasing. I don't know if it released already on probably PC, but
Hmm.
it's coming out on Switch. It's a roguelite style game. It's got a heavy metal influence to it.
Yep, that's exactly what I was gonna say.
Yep, heavy metal, gothic. I'm guessing there's gonna be like guitars and it's gory looking. There's like blood and spinny blades
Yep,
all
done
over
it.
the place.
Done in what looks to be pixel art, but I'm not sure about the background. The background looks like I don't even know
I
what to
would.
make of that.
It's kind of like visually. What's that game? That other roguelike game,
Dead Cells.
Dead Cells. Yes, there we
Yeah.
go. So it kind of gives me the Dead Cells vibes. It's still visually different from Dead Cells to a certain degree, but it's given if you like the artwork of Dead Cells, this one's going to be hitting that same sort of it'll be hitting that same alley. But instead of I think a big thing with this one is instead of traversing left to right in a Metroidvania-esque sort of map. It looks like, from what I remember, it's going up vertically all the time. So I guess you're either climbing or descending a big giant tower.
Okay. I wonder if this will utilize that the thing that they do for the pinball games, where it has a modified like if you play it handheld, a modified controller. we put the Joy Cons in it and it holds it vertically. That would be kind of cool. Anyway, so yeah, that looks really interesting. Rising Hell, price of $8.99. Wow, that looks very doable.
Yeah, that price is almost too low.
Right. Huh. Okay, cool. Then next we have Rise of the Slime. Rise of the Slime looks like a um, card-based RPG card-based battle system. There's a lot written on these cards. I wonder how deep this goes.
It this one actually, like, aesthetic wise, it looks good and clean.
Yeah, I was gonna say very very simple, but there's just a lot of there still is a lot of information on there though.
And it's comedic. It's not taking itself too seriously, which I like. And another thing that it has going for it is that it is essentially riffing heavily on Slay the Spire. So this is a variant to Slay the Spire where you're playing as this slime thing, and I guess you're trying to get somewhere to do some quest thing, and you're using cards that you're picking up along the way via roguelite elements and building up a deck
Hmm.
and going through. Uh, and it's it's that, but when I'm looking at some of these sort of screenshots on the combat, I'm also getting Paper Mario 2 vibes from it as well. So
Right.
I'm excited because these numbers, right? They're little numbers. I like little numbers.
Is that because you can't do maths?
No, it's because I think little numbers are easier to
Make sense of and manipulate.
well, yeah, it's easier to determine the effect, to understand the full effect, right? When it's, 10% more of 1,000, who cares? But when it's you know, you went from 1 damage to 2 damage, that's a big deal,
You've doubled your damage.
right? From
Dang.
3 to 4, it's easy to compute.
Right.
So anyway, this actually looks interesting.
Yeah, price right, $15 USD.
Yeah.
Cool. Next we have Wanna Survive? That's not a question. Why did I make that a question?
It's a strategy role-playing game. It's gonna release on May 21st, and I mean, the box art looks one way, and then when I look at the screenshots, I'm like, "Oh, this is a tactical RPG." They got a grid. It's turn-based, and you're making decisions on the characters, moving them about and attacking. But it also takes place in I guess modern day.
Yeah,
So it's a I guess it's a zombie apocalypse has occurred,
right.
and you're defending against on an onslaught of incoming zombies, uh, and you're taking your turn, doing tactical stuff. It also has permadeath
Yeah,
stuff going on. There's a resource management stuff they have to worry about. I guess you're going to be scavenging for materials and food and things like that. So it's like this nice little could potentially be this nice little package of survival mechanics mixed with turn-based tactical RPG strategy elements. So
hmm. Seems like something you may like.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Another one I actually want to mention, which isn't on your list here because it comes out today. Actually, it's
Oh,
called Gin Conception. I want you to take a look. Have you heard of this game?
where is it?
It's coming at you.
Oh, there it is.
This seems like a Johnny type game.
Oh, the
So
characters have big hair.
Jade Conception is a social deduction fantasy thriller turn-based strategy JRPG. That is a mouthful, but you have 8 playable characters. Stories intertwine when 3 characters enter final layer and 2 vanish without a trace. So some key features it says here: strategic turn-based combat involving balance. Battles happen on the same field as movement. No switching screens when combat starts. Affliction and buff system. For example, players cannot run away if they have an affliction. Double and triple Jin techs allow party members to combine attacks, which is kind of cool. I like that sort of tag team type of element. It looks like there's going to be traps. It is done in the style that we've been mentioning. It's kind of a top-down, grid-based sort of system, and
Uh,
it's pixel art. I think is done decently well.
Wait, grid base? I don't see that.
Well, it's I
I
thought.
think I think what they meant by the combat system
Mhm.
is it's a combat system that's just like Chrono Trigger.
Oh, I gotcha, I gotcha, I gotcha. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I think you're right. I think you're right.
I mean, this game looks like it's inspired by Chrono Trigger left and right. I
Mhm.
mean, that whole uh combine attacks,
The teamwork
the teamwork
skills.
attacks,
Yep.
the Jin tech, right? It's called the tech, right?
Yeah.
It's riffing real good on Chrono Trigger, which is not a bad thing because Chrono Trigger is a absolutely fantastic game. So
Right.
yeah, this is one to pay attention to because it looks like love went into this thing.
Yeah, and I've never heard of the studio. It's developed and published by Jinwave, so I think this is definitely one to take a peek at.
Yeah.
Um, Last on our list here, is on May 21st is Metopia. I have zero interest in playing this game, knowing about this game. I I don't know. The demo's available if you're at all interested for free.
Yeah, you know what the price of the full game is?
It's a full price game. Well, no, I'm
Oh,
sorry. It's a
almost
$50 game.
$50. Oh man.
I mean, if it's worth it for you, you're gonna buy it. But I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I just don't see this being all that great.
It just doesn't. It doesn't look like it's been improved much. On at least, again, that's just what I think.
Yeah.
And it seems like Nintendo was like all in on this too, which was kind of, I don't know. They were really excited about it, and I'm just like, I don't know, whatever. All right.
Yeah.
That is our upcoming RPGs, and that's going to do it for today's episode of the Switch RPG podcast. Thank you so much for listening. And remember, if you have any questions or comments, you can email us at podcast@switchrpg.com. And don't forget, you can listen to the show each and every week. We'll try. I'm going to try. We're going to do our best at switchrpg.com, and you can subscribe on your favorite podcast listening app. If you listen on an app, please give us a rating and review. We want to climb up them charts on those platforms, so your support there would be amazing. And finally, remember you can head over to switchrpg.com for all your RPG needs on the Nintendo Switch. Until next time, see you later.